Skyharbour Resources. For those of you not familiar with Skyharbour, we're a high-grade uranium exploration and prospect generator business. So we've got this dual-pronged strategy, corporate strategy that we've rolled out really over the last decade, whereby we're focused on exploration. We're out there trying to make that next big discovery. We have a project currently that we've just finished some drilling on that does have a high-grade small deposit. So we are going to be announcing drill results shortly. There's important catalysts, as Gwen mentioned, coming up. But I'd say we're one of the few, very few, discovery-ready stories in the Athabasca Basin, not just drill-ready, discovery-ready. And I'll talk a little bit more about that on our two main projects. We've over 10 years now built what is the third largest by acreage mineral tenure holding in northern Saskatchewan. So that's over 1.4 million acres. That is nearly impossible to do today unless you got a lot of money or it's very dilutive. 29 projects scattered all throughout the Athabasca Basin. It's a top mining district, the highest grade uranium depository in the world, built it up over the 10 years. And we have a range of early stage exploration, more grassroots properties that typically are part of our prospect generator business, right through to more advanced stage exploration assets that either host uranium, small uranium deposits, we do have pounds in the ground, and or they have high grade multi-percent U3O8 in previous drilling. That is very, very important. There's lots of exploration happening in the Athabasca currently and over the last few years as we've seen the uranium price move higher, but it's very difficult to find these deposits. There's not a lot of discovery-ready projects, and that's what we offer our investors, not just at our core projects, but at partner-funded projects as well. So we're actively advancing our two main assets, Russell and Moore Lake. We've just finished 8,000 meters of drilling, as Gwen alluded to. We have lots of assays pending. This is a key catalyst for us over the next month to 2 months. And then we're fully funded for another 8,000 to 10,000 meters, which will commence this summer. So you're getting 15,000 to 20,000 meters of drilling this year. We're fully funded and permitted for all that. And I think we're going to deliver some very, very, very good results over the course of the year. Now, the other projects, the other 27 projects are part of a very robust prospect generator business that we've built up, where we have 7 partner companies spending potentially upwards of 80 million, our current market cap, on exploration funding, as well as cash and share payments coming into Skyharbour. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. One last note here on this slide, we do have 3 larger strategic partners. Denison Mines, they're our largest corporate shareholder. Rio Tinto just joined as a shareholder in the last few years. And then France's largest nuclear and uranium mining company called Orano, we have a joint venture partnership with. So we've got a great mix of managerial and capital markets experience at the board level and with the senior management, as well as focused uranium exploration expertise in the Athabasca Basin. I've been running the company for 10 years. I come from a finance and entrepreneurial background. I was with a gold company previously called Bayfield, which we sold to New Gold. That's when my chairman, Jim Pettit, and I started Skyharbour Resources. We teamed up with a group of geologists in Saskatoon, headed up by our current head geologist, Dave Biard. So Dave has made several discoveries in the basin. Him and Christine, our senior project geologist, also worked at Cameco for a number of years. And Dave built and sold a company called J&R to Denison Mines prior to joining us full time. You'll see a couple other notable names. Dave Cates, who's the president and CEO of Denison Mines. He's an independent director of Skyharbour. Andrew Ramcharan, he was the corporate development manager at IM Gold, joined us 2 years ago as our senior VP of corporate development. And Paul Matizik, well known in this space, joined us as an advisor and a large shareholder of the company a number of years ago. Now, just drawing your attention to the capital structure, 182.5 million shares issued and outstanding, about an 75 to $80 million market cap. We're well funded with just under 7 million in the treasury and some notable and strategic shareholders. You'll see there, we're in all of the uranium mining ETFs, a number of notable institutional investors and corporates, as well as some family office participation. And one last note on the treasury, we do typically receive, at least in the last few years, $1 million to $2 million each year in cash and share payments from these option partners. We haven't had to raise a hard dollar in a private placement financing since August of 2020. I won't spend a ton of time on these two slides, but happy to discuss it at our booth in the other room. But obviously, uranium has been a very interesting commodity. It's been one of the top performers. As Gwen said, don't be afraid of momentum. This commodity right now is, I believe, still very much the early innings of what will be a much longer sustained bull market. There's major macro trends underpinning it: electrification, whether it's the advent of AI, crypto, some of these new industries that are requiring a lot more electricity consumption, or decarbonization, obviously a major trend. Nuclear is the only source of baseload emissions-free electricity generation out there. And then last but not least, more recently, the theme of energy security and independence. So with the war in Russia, Ukraine, we've seen this market bifurcation east versus west. We just saw in the last week here, the Russian import ban in the U.S. get passed through Congress, through the Senate. So this is just going to continue to tighten up the market and lead to further upward pressure on a commodity that's already being strained currently. Now, the supply-demand fundamentals, 200 million pounds approximately of current demand, and that's growing at a much quicker clip than it was even a few years ago. We're only producing about 150 million pounds of primary mine supply. We've always had secondary supplies to fill that gap. We no longer have that, and hence one of the main reasons that we're seeing the price continue to march higher. And lastly here, just two key numbers to note. 2.2 billion pounds. That's the number of uncovered requirements in pounds between now and 2040. So that's a massive amount of new contracting from utilities. And 400 million pounds, another key number, that is the cumulative supply deficit estimated between now and 2030. So very strong underlying fundamentals for the commodity. Now, getting into our project portfolio, as I said, 29 projects, 1.4 million acres, all throughout the Athabasca Basin, ranging from earlier stage to more advanced stage exploration projects. Our two main assets that you'll see, Russell and Moore Lake, which I'll zoom in on here. These are our two co-flagship advanced stage exploration projects, strategically located between the McArthur River Mine to the north, the Key Lake Mill to the south, one of only two operating mills in the region, and our largest shareholder and strategic partner in Denison Mines, building what will likely be one of the next producing uranium mines, ISR mines in the Athabasca Basin at the Wheeler River project. In fact, we completely encircle Wheeler River with our Russell Lake project to the north, to the east, and to the south. It's road accessible. The road that services the McArthur River Mine runs right up through Russell Lake. There's power and there's an exploration camp there, bringing our drill costs well below all-in $350 Canadian all-in a meter, which is 50–60% cheaper than a lot of our peers and other more remote exploration projects. Now, this Russell Lake project is a recent acquisition from Rio Tinto. We've now basically completed the initial 51% earn-in at the project. We can go to 100. And as I mentioned earlier, we've just completed a winter drill program, assays pending. We're very, very, very happy with what we've seen. I think we're on the precipice of something massive there, and we're going to continue drilling this summer, again, fully funded for another 8,000 to 10,000 meters. Adjacent to Russell, we have our Moore Lake project, which, for those that have been following the story, this has been the flagship in the company for a number of years. There is a high-grade small deposit there, the Maverick Zone, which is hosting grades as high as 21% U3O8. That was over 1.5 meters, 6% over 6 meters, and several other high-grade zones of mineralization that we've discovered. We've just finished 3,000 meters of drilling there. Assays pending. We are planning another few thousand meters this summer, as well as a resource estimate at that project later this year. And then just quickly, our prospect generator business. I won't get into too much here, too many details, but you have here a good snapshot of the 7 partnerships that we have. 3 are now full joint ventures. They completed their earnings. The other 4 are still actively earning in. You'll see the total amounts at the bottom. $80 million in combined project consideration, about just under half of that in project funding and exploration funding, the other half in cash and stock that can come into Skyharbour as these companies complete their earnings. So just to wrap up here, upcoming catalysts, again, we have lots of drill results pending, We're very, very pleased with what we've seen. I think it's going to surprise to the upside with the market. And we are planning another 8,000 to 10,000 meters that we're funded for this summer. We have 5 of the 7 partner companies on that previous page carrying out exploration. They have to fund that, so it adds to the news flow. We have additional projects that we've been acquiring. We've been bolstering the portfolio, and keep an eye out for news on new partners on some of the other 100% owned projects that we have in our portfolio as we build out our prospect generator business. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you giving us the time, and any other questions anyone has, we have a booth here. Happy to answer, happy to discuss whatever you'd like. Thank you.